Horizon Just Home Studio UX, and this is Quasimorph review, Schizo edition, trademark by SsethTzeentach. It's another Seth video, Quasimorph. So kinda morphing, but not completely. Okay, this is a newer game apparently. YouTube tells me it's 2023. All right. I like Seth's game when usually it's like, they're like Seth's review basically, Dwarf Fortress, Space Station 13 type of way. Obviously, everything Seth does is great, but he, the game I have no idea about, and a detailed review of it, just awesome. I don't play games like that, I have never played games like that since I was a kid. So whenever I see something like that, like some awesome game which is like not so technologically advanced graphically and things like that, it's just insane, right? Factorio, Space Station 13, all the things that can happen in that, Dwarf Fortress, is just insane. I've never seen any games that is like that, and all that can happen because it's lower technology in that way. So because it's like, two-dimensional, I guess, is that whatever, just from the top view, whatever it's called, if it's that pixelated, it can open doors to doing a lot of things. All the things happen in the background. It's like track of things, right? Something happened at the start, but after hours later, that thing can still pop up, or the game just keeps track of that. That is just insane. So I don't know which game is this gonna be, but yeah, I guess it's gonna be interesting. Let's watch it. Remember, we'll flag my reaction, don't forget to subscribe. That way, I know which type of videos to react to more. Check out the reaction, there's a link in the decision. And yeah, let's do it.
Hey, Lactation Nation, Seth here. In the not-so-distant future, man no longer fears the tyranny of a state, as sovereign nations have been abolished. For we found the best form of government. Anarcho-capitalism.
Oh, Far Cry 2.
Anarcho-capitalism is mentioned to me in conversation, it's usually followed by repealing the age of consent. But in this case, it simply means everything and everyone in this entire solar system is corporate property. Quasimorph is an early access roguelike where you take the role of Magnum PMC, a private military contractor with flexible morality that does work for the highest bidder. The twist is the world is over, Judgment Day is here, and we're all going to die, and we've chosen to profit from the chaos. But first, a word from our sponsor, because I gotta get that bread. Whoops, sorry guys, my PC crashed again. I had a single Chrome tab open, so my computer caught fire, burned down my house, and killed my wife's son. Thankfully, today's video is sponsored by Opera GX. It's no small secret that modern web browsers are massive resource hogs. They always say, just upgrade your rig, bro. But you know what? No, I'm using Opera's GX control feature to limit how much CPU and RAM the browser can use, so I can game uninterrupted.
Yeah, by the way, this is bullshit advice. Just upgrade your rig. I went from 16 gig to 32 gig RAM, thinking, okay, it's going to be fine. But Chrome now occupies something like 16 GB or something, which was previously all the RAM I had. So, as soon as I upgraded, it's using more now for whatever reason, right? It's always like 50% of things. Oh, I get it, like I have a lot of tabs open. But still, man, come on, that's just insane. I have 32 GB and it's going to take half of it. But then again, like I said, I have like a lot of tabs open, 15, 20, something, I don't even know.
Interrupted no matter how many memory leaks Elon adds to Twitter. Opera GX is extremely moddable. Check out this one that I made.
By the way, there was a latest video where Elon Musk, about Ask. Like, the advertisers are basically, I don't know, like saying like we're going to pull out or something. He's saying fuck you to all of them, which is like, I don't know, that's not how business works, but it's just at the same time, that's so fucking awesome, right? It's just like, fuck you. If X fails, I guess it failed, right? People will be judge of it or something like that.
I've heard your cries, your demands. More, Seth. We want more, Seth. Well, now you've got me with every single keystroke. I'll be there, stroking right alongside you. Oh, you don't like that? You just want the themed wallpaper? Opera GX once again has you covered. You can fully customize which features come from which mods. And with a on the store page, your browser can be whatever you want it to be. Check this out. By tweaking the music, keyboard sounds, tab sounds, theme, wallpaper, and custom shader, I've created the ultimate web browsing experience. Music to my ears. Now, I know what you're thinking. Seth, this browser sounds pretty cool and all, but switching browsers is such a pain. Worry not. Opera GX has an import tool to quickly download all your settings, history, bookmarks, and passwords in just one click. Use my link to download Opera GX today and say goodbye to all those pesky, boring, other browsers. To answer the question, what is a quasimorph? Sometimes the most accurate answer is the schizophrenic one. The setting of quasimorph stems from the esoteric metamythos of Daniil Andreev in his book Rose of a World, which describes Shadanakar, or the systems of parallel worlds connected to Earth. These concentric layers are Brahmfuturas, the superimposition, influence, and overlap of which formulate together to create existence. At least I think so. Quasimorph is an intruder stepping in from another reality. And unfortunately, the veil between worlds is weakest between your chest cavity. Quasimorph is a turn-based survival extraction.
Oh my god, this is Dwarf Fortress type of game, pixelated. As soon as I saw pixelated game, I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be awesome. This is where Seth shines.
Shooter, or in other words, 2D Escape from Tarkov, except fun. The principle is very simple. We take out a contract and send in one of our agents. If they die, no problem. They're not really any more people than they are proprietary neuro imprints. We license their consciousness, and we bioprint as many replacements necessary for total client satisfaction. You're free to take jobs from any of the major corporations.
Yeah, okay, this is another like cyberpunk type of way, I guess. Right, capitalism, corporation, everything's business type of mentality. Yeah, I like how all the games basically leads to that. Basically, you know, capitalism extreme is what the future is, I guess. That's what they're envisioning.
Including the quasimorphs. We may be locked in an existential war for humanity, but that doesn't stop me from holding stock in Sectland. Rapture is coming, but homie, I got some great dividends. And you start with a favorable reputation. After all, you did help them entrench into this reality. You start a mission by selecting an active contract around the planet or moon you're currently orbiting. This requires you to select a mercenary, a class, and a loadout.
Oh look, even this game has better planet hovering graphics than Starfield. What the fuck, man? Right, it can spin around the planet and actually changes the sun and everything changes. Whereas in Starfield, there's just one small box that you're locked in.
For the mission, after which you're deployed into hostile territory. Anyone you see, anything that moves, is kill on sight. An entire mission is 2 to 4 levels. If you change your mind midway and call the shuttle, fuel is expensive, so it's cheaper to let you die. The only way to extract is by completing the objective, which can be espionage, station defense, sabotage, elimination, or conquest. If you die anywhere in between, you lose everything. And I assure you, you're going to be dying a lot. If it's any consolation, I died during the tutorial because I picked up a knife, selected amputate, and clicked on my head. Each deployment, you're on a timer. The more time you spend and the more blood you spill, the higher your level of quasimorph.
Why only games like this has this kind of like a realistic element to it? I get like Baldur's Gate 3 also like came close to having this kind of a details, but it was like a proper big ass game. But still, why does pixelated game are the only one that has to have this kind of like a lot of detail to it? It's like whoever made this thought of everything. Like what if somebody does this and they put that detail in? Sometimes it feels like, okay, is the engine coming up with all this shit, or the developer actually put the code in? But only games like this has it.
Quasimorphosis measures the probability of ecolapse, where, upon death, the host explodes and a quasimorph phases in. The severity of a situation is described in the bottom right. Somnia, no events. Grasp, occasional ecolapse. Intrusion, music changes, ecolapse and aggression increase. Plenum, spontaneous ecolapse. Alteration, the entire floor is coming. Qmorphose, music changes to its highest intensity, every host in the map explodes. And finally, Rapture. If you want to live, you'll keep this number as low as possible. Naturally, there's only a few ways to do this. Drinking vodka, smoking Newports, and injecting morphine. Each time you move, you consume calories. At higher weights, this is 9 calories per step. This is what Americans really believe. And to avoid starvation, we need a steady supply of slop. But when the food runs out, I want you to consider alternative sources. When I consume my enemies, is it really cannibalism? For that implies I considered them human to begin with. Unfortunately, human flesh will raise your quasimorphosis. You delay one death and accelerate another. However, if you...
Alright. Obviously, historically, for survival, people did cannibalism, didn't give a shit, right? So, yeah, this is another game that does it. What was that game that he reviewed about human organ trading simulator or whatever that was? That game was also insane. Oh god, this is so good. Look man, there will be a day where I'm like, okay, fuck work and fuck everything, right? I'm just gonna take a gap of multiple months. And I'm just going to go through the list of all games like this that Seth reviewed and just going to play it. And that's going to be best experience of my life, because all these games, I never even thought of touching it since I was a kid. Because, I don't know, in my head it's like best looking games must be best, and never thought of it more than that. But since past 2-3 years when I started to watch Seth, I'm like, what the fuck, look at all the ability. So whenever now a new feature comes in a video game, like a big ass AAA video game, I don't get that much excited. Like, there's nothing new. Games like this has been doing there for a long time.
If you find a crafting bench in an empty tin, you can turn that long pig into gourmet dinner, which will no longer cause quasimorphosis. The implication being that it's not about devouring your fellow man, it's about table manners. Disclaimer, they patched the canned meat. It's so over. On the other hand, they improved the crafting bench so much you have no idea. We are so back. In general, the crafting bench will save a lot of your early game runs. Don't sleep on it. Improvised toilet grenades clear rooms, makeshift batteries power autodocs and floor scanners. Completing a mission gives rewards, but more importantly, a reputation. You can land at any corporate asset so long as it's friendly and exchange goods for equipment. And if you're completely broke but friendly with SsethTzeentach, you can even exchange yourself by amputating your own limbs. This is not a joke. It's a completely valid strategy to potato peel your digits, offer them at the Fevered Temple, regenerate your limbs on the ship, and do it all over again. It's not efficient, but we can no longer exploit blood bag synthesis. They caught on to us, boys. It was good while it lasted. Speaking of which, the Magnum can fabricate.
What the fuck? By the way, you can also do the human organ trading shit in this game as well, because why not? Oh, that's some next level shit. Sealing off your limbs that you regrow, whatever. Basically farming yourself. That's just some next level shit. Imagine if in the future, because of CRISPR or whatever, the advanced version of it, people can actually do that, and they actually do that. Oh, every single thing that is a social norm must be rethink in the future because of shit like that. This is dark shit.
Almost everything, so long as you have the proprietary item chip. These are effectively a perpetual license and are so incredibly valuable that finding one during a mission is a valid reason for evacuation. There's also class and mind chips, which unlock classes and mercenaries respectively. If you mouse over a chip and you see the words data miner, you've officially hit the jackpot. You can do whatever you want, but remember, your actions have consequences. Supporting a corporation will accelerate their growth and technology. If you want top shelf gear, great. But if you turn against them in the future, you're not going to be facing wage slaves and general managers. You'll be facing rival PMCs and their own special forces. So I encourage you, pick a side, any side, and stick to it. There's a lot.
That makes sense, right? You make them strong, and then you make them enemy. Obviously, they're strong now because of you, and they're gonna come after you. They're gonna kick your ass. Oh god, this reminds me of Fallout 3 and that bounty system. Always in New Vegas too. Fallout 3, the talent company also constantly comes after you, all that. God, nowadays games just don't have that, right? Even that simplistic thing was so good. Even in like New Vegas, like, the Legion came after you, depending on where you are in karma system.
A lot of minor corporations, but for the sake of time, here's the big players. SBN, social media monopoly. They own Twitter, the best energy rifles, and the lightest armor. RealWear, industrial mega manufacturer. Carnage Pattern is objectively the coolest armor, and they produce the highest RPM ballistics. Ancom, entertainment and research conglomerate. They make the most versatile armor, the best snipers, and the experimental HFC, this game's equivalent of Doom's BFG. Testlan, quasimorphs from Venus that'll make you rage quit at least several times. Everything is Aztec, from the design to the desire for human organs. And finally, the Civil Resistance. These are terrorists that hope to bring about something even worse than Judgment Day. A return to national sovereignty. They intentionally hive-mind themselves into a cluster of consciousness known as a call node. In effect, they have achieved working communism. Anyway, you understand the politics of our PMC. Let's return to the actual mechanics. It's very tempting to finish the tutorial and go straight to the moon. Somehow, I avoided this so I didn't get filtered by a wheelchair. Quasimorphosis is unique to each planet because they're subject to the influence of a different Brahmfatura. Venus, Ganix, Mercury, Shartamacum, and the Earth's moon, Dugur. Mars and its moons have absentia, which means there is no quasimorphosis. So, if you're starting off, I recommend Mars. If you're learning, try Mercury and Venus. And if you know what you're doing, go to the moon. That doesn't mean any single location is safe, and death is around every corner. Most common cause of death.
Yeah, imagine if you play this and turns out this is more fun than Starfield. I don't know if it is or not, but that will be some next level shit. This is also from 2023, so yeah. This is also planet to planet.
Flamethrowers, not in the hands of enemies, but myself. An entire run, gone in a flash because some unpaid worker amputated your neck with a circular saw. I assumed the weapon was busted, so I tried it myself, in a straight line, where it ricocheted and cut my legs clean off. When you take damage, you get injuries, which have to be treated, or they get infected. And if there's no antibiotics on hand, well, it has to go. Secondly, the most common cause of getting filtered, pain shock. If you take too much damage too quickly, you get stunned and lose a turn. Both systems are universal. If you shoot something hard enough, they'll get stunned from the shock. If you cause injury, you can run away as they bleed to death. And
I like the detailed version of this. Feels like a weird version of Fallout. I remember playing Fallout 3 and there were mods of it. Basically, if you stim pack, it will heal everything, even the limb damage, which is like weird. The mods, survival type of mods changed all that. Stim pack will work, but there's a limit to it. It will slowly generate your health, and you will need something else if you hurt your limb or something. And even that has like a certain, dependence. If you're like 2 damage, there's something else entirely. God, that was so good. But just follow, fuck it, just give them stim pack. That's enough. Why have a limb damage if stim packs can heal everything?
And if you amputate a critical organ, they might just die instantaneously. The number of action points you can take per turn is based on your move setting. At any time, you can switch between sneak, normal, and run. Sneak is 1 action point, but can detect the position of nearby enemies, use your inventory, and interact with nearby objects at no cost. Normal is 2 action points, and run is free. However, while running, you can't open your inventory and take a severe penalty to your accuracy. Peak performance requires that you abuse the system. Opening a door, switch to sneak, see enemies, switch to normal, and toss a grenade before switching back and locking it on the same turn. A lot of players have a tendency to go autopilot in sneak mode and just die without explanation. What usually happens is they turn a sharp corner, get their shit blasted in, but because they have a single action point, they go into pain shock, which rolls over to the next turn, where they get shot again and repeat the process until they die.
Wait a minute, this is not a turn based, right? Did I miss that? This is not like Baldur's Gate 3. Look, I love Baldur's Gate 3, and maybe people think it's better because I hate that turn-based shit. Understand all the chance crap, but having a live action, what is it called? There's turn-based, and what is the other version of it? Like, what is it called? Like, it doesn't pause. It just like, I don't know, right? Just have it normal way, right? I'm pretty sure it can work just easily, right? If you want to have chance-based system, you can also add that, but on a live, you don't have to go point bob. It just feels weird like a chess game or something, or a board game. That's not a board game, it's a video game. I don't understand that.
The whole point of running is to face check. Understand your tools, and you'll find this to be a very satisfying tactical experience. I used to have complaints about this game, but after so many hours, I can tell you, if you die, it's a skill issue. I have a brain parasite, and it forces me to play this game at 2 times speed of cheat engine. That's a personal choice. I also use a macro to amputate every corpse.
Yeah, I played the shit out of like Borderlands and things like that with cheat engine, right? It's like, by the way, you can't have legendary weapon unless it's really good chance. You have to play the game multiple times. I'm like, fuck that. Just cheat engine. There you go. Legendaries after legendaries. I'm not playing this game over and over again. I don't have that time.
After 100 hours playtime, that's a necessity. Classes work like a perk system, and each mercenary has an intrinsic perk. This unique ability combines with your class of choice to create vastly different playstyles. For example, Percy comes with +5 to all resistance. Outfitted with full carnage pattern, he's the only person in the game that can set himself on fire and not take damage. And after putting him in Phoenix Brigade, I can shoot a single round of incendiary ammunition and burn down half the map. In general, you should pick a mercenary that suits your playstyle. Do you want to feast on human flesh? Play Isabella because she's immune to infection. Even better, put her as Eclipse Blaze and turn your cannibalism into a one-hit kill. Are you tired of getting stun-locked? Try Maximilian because he doesn't feel pain. Would you like a slower pace? Play Mirza because her caloric needs are 40% of everyone else. Are you tired of scraping by? Would you like to quadruple everyone's inventory to the point where every enemy
Man, I love that, and at the same time I also don't, right? Years ago I would have loved that a lot because of all this detail, but nowadays, since I don't have that much time to play, how am I supposed to figure all this shit out? Obviously Seth's gonna tell me, but if I were to pick up this game without any review, how am I gonna figure all this shit out? I have to spend a significant amount of time just to learn all this shit.
Contains 2 flavors of ramen and a pack of Lucky Strikes? Play Tunnel Rats and experience the greatest whiplash in difficulty as everything that doesn't die to your shotgun gets knocked back into the void of space. I've discussed builds. Let's talk about guns, because there's a lot of them. If you want to kill enemies, you need to beat their resistance, and the type of damage you do is based on the ammunition. Flamethrowers and energy rifles cook organics, but have no effect on cyborgs. In contrast, the buckshot of a shotgun will cut them to pieces. Most armor stops the blunt impact of a 9mm, but a 7.97 from an assault rifle will pierce right through. Quasimorphic weapons deal cold. Even if you're fully equipped, the full burst of a serpent's mouth will send you straight back to the menu. And poison was previously neglected, and now it's a complete menace.
Right, I like that certain type of enemies should have an OP thing to it, just to keep the threatening level high, right? I don't like the level scaling type of games. It depends on the game, but I guess I don't like that. Like, if you become strong enough, like even the threatening things are no longer threatening. It's like they should have at least one thing that could insta-kill you that you just fear, right? It should be based on skill, so obviously you can dominate a lot, but there's a chance they would fuck you up. That's always threatening. I like that. That's why I love Dying Light, first Dying Light, because it doesn't matter how strong you get, volatiles can fuck you up. So even after a long time, you're just roaming the night thinking, oh, I'm powerful enough, I have like these powerful weapons and shit, shotgun and everything. There's a chance if like 2-3 volatile, if they just catch you in the wrong side, they'll fuck you up completely. Dying Light 2 just fucked up completely. They were like level-based system. So you can just walk around night and no volatile. You need to increase like it's a GTA or something. Like star system. Unless you get hit 5 stars, you're not gonna have volatile.
Also, there's turrets. They're incredibly useful for defense missions, and because an enemy ran right up to your face, shooting you in the crossfire. And finally, you might be asking yourself, what's that little icon on the bottom right? Don't worry about it. Anyways, I forgot how to structure this video, so in conclusion...
The Skull Project.
Don't worry.
Accessing the information is classified. What the fuck? Wait a minute, is this like network version of the developers and is Seth using not so official version? That could have, I don't know. Or maybe this game is like not fully out and this is like a future thing.
Worry about it. Anyways, I forgot how to structure this video, so in conclusion, I give this game a self-inflicted out of 10. It's amazing. I know it's early access, but there's a lot of content already, and you can easily sink 80 hours on just the main gameplay loop. There's an impressive roadmap and features to come that I cannot disclose at this time because I promised I wouldn't tell. As always, more content to come next year because I gotta see my family. Merry Christmas. A warm thanks to...
I'm gonna like panic for a second. Next year, but wait a minute, it's December now, so yeah. This is
the
like...
many members of a Merchants Guild generously funding and bankrolling these videos consistently for several years. You're all truly wonderful, and you give me more than I deserve. And you won't stop asking me to take your money, so I will. In exchange, enjoy the outro.
Let's say some music. This is just fun. Seeing that games like this are just point blank fun. Even if you don't understand it, just kill shit up. Just burn everything. Look at that. I guess that's the whole thing now. Yep. Oh, wait a minute, something in the end I'm missing. Yep. What?
If you're interested, there's a 20% sale on GOG. A special thanks to the autistic Japanese man who tailored me this Mibeke suit. If you're interested in anything from a Democratic Republic of Congo military suit to a BDSM outfit, I've linked his Patreon in the description below. By the way, in case you're wondering, what's the most expensive part of this suit? It's the snake skin. Have a merry 2024, and I'll see you all next year.
There you go. I'm so glad I didn't just stop the video. Yeah, people get pissed off all the time, like, why did you stop the video? And there are few channels, most of it is Seth, that has always like Marvel type of shit, like a post-credit or during the credit there's gonna be something. I missed a lot of Seth videos endings, which I'm guessing was good, but yeah, can't watch that again. But yeah. There you go, Will. This was Quasimorph. Really good game. It's just point blank fun, just seeing it. This last montage thing was just fun, right? The weapon things are like that because you can never go wrong with a lot of weapons and ammos. One thing I hated about Starfield is just like okay, there are more weapons, but just all just felt like meh. What am I supposed to do with that? All the ammo, there were different ammo as well, but just I don't know. I feel like Starfield was just a too much game. I don't know. That's the one conclusion I came from. Like from the start, you're just overwhelmed, right? In Fallout, you just slowly start this like get out of vault or whatever, this like whole world. You slowly go, you find a 9mm, you slowly find a town. Why in Starfield you just get out and there's like fucking planet and just like you have to go to Mars now. There are multiple weapons, it's just in your inventory. By the way, this are whole it's just overwhelming, I think. Starfield is just one thing that's Elder Scrolls is slow paced sword fight. Fallout is also slow paced because it's post apocalyptic. Starfield is just like too much. I don't know, that's what I felt like. The game is good, but it just like overwhelms you. This feels like, let's just say pixelated Starfield, but it's really good. From planet to planet, all this shit, all the things you can plan for, like he said, all the different characters and things. It's like Baldur's Gate 3 type of thing with RPG elements of it. I like the, you have to, you can amputate your head and there you go dead. They actually put that like if an idiot cuts himself, he can die type of element to it. Only games like this can have that kind of element, which is awesome. Alright, well, if you like my reaction, don't forget to subscribe. Comment down if you want to do any other reaction. Check out other one if you haven't seen it. Like check out the end card right now. And yeah, I'll see you next time.